If you're a PC gamer, then you're probably aware of something going on with CPUs involving security risks and performance hits. Researchers at Google's Project Zero team shed light on an issue that affects a wide range of processors, most notably Intel CPUs. And while it can get very technical, we're here to highlight what you need to know about these CPU flaws and how it'll impact gaming. There's a feature that's fundamentally built into a majority of processors and prominent in Intel CPUs. At the core of the issue, memory is leaking through the chip's kernel, which leads to potential personal data exposure and increased vulnerability to malicious software attacks. Sensitive information is a sitting duck to malware, particularly what's called Meltdown and Spectre vulnerabilities. The security flaw was found to be inherent in the CPU itself. It affects the kernel, which is a non-physical entity between the CPU and operating system that controls communication between applications and the hardware itself. While the feature that causes the issue is in CPUs out on the market today, future CPUs could physically prevent it. As of now, software updates have been released to mitigate the issues. Since chip manufacturers can't really do anything about the design flaws, solutions came from the OS manufacturers. Security updates to Apple's Mac OS and Microsoft's Windows operating systems are now available. Additional computational instructions are patched into the operating systems to seal the leaks that leave PCs vulnerable. It's strongly advised to update your OS ASAP. Unfortunately, there are some drawbacks. By nature of placing additional instructions between the CPU and OS, the overall workload is increased and will slow down processor performance. A Reddit user on RPC Gaming said they ran their own benchmark tests before and after the Windows 10 security update to see how much performance was impacted in a handful of games. The claimed loss in frame rate ranged from as little as 1.5% to as large as 13.1% depending on the game and benchmark. These numbers came from a system equipped with an Intel Core i5-4690K CPU overclocked at 4.4 GHz, 16 GB of RAM, and an AMD RX 580 video card. The publication TechSpot ran its own benchmarks using an Intel Core i7-8700K and GTX 1080 Ti video card before and after the Windows update. What they found was that the performance differences were negligible, amounting to almost no difference in frame rate. Of course, the two cases were using drastically different hardware, so it could be that effects on performance depend on your PC's specs. These security risks affect desktop users, server-based systems, and even mobile users. Pretty much every Intel CPU has this bug, and Apple has said that every macOS and iOS device does too, but claimed that there aren't any exploits out there yet. AMD claims that their CPUs aren't nearly as vulnerable to this exploit by nature of their architecture. Each company has released official statements regarding this widespread problem. You can head on over to GameSpot.com for all the details and the full story. You should note that this story is developing and the details could change as companies dig deeper into the implications of this issue. Stick to GameSpot for updates on PC hardware and how it'll affect the games that we play.